Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Today we're getting into something really important, something affecting so many people. Mental burnout. And look, it's way more than just feeling wiped out. We've been looking at some compelling research, particularly from Mind Matters, to really unpack it. What is it? How does it actually, show up in your brain? And crucially, what can we do about it? Because the science is pretty clear now. This isn't just in your head, it's a measurable condition.
That's exactly right. For a long time, burnout was sort of dismissed, wasn't it? But it's now recognized by the WHO as a syndrome. Basically, it's your body's extended response to chronic, unrelenting stress. Think profound exhaustion. A real cynicism, maybe about work, maybe life in general, and definitely a dip in performance. And it's not trivial. It's linked to some serious health outcomes. Depression, heart disease, things like that.
Okay, so it fits measurable.
Right.
What does that look like? I mean, inside our brains, what's the neuroimaging showing us when someone's burned out?
Yeah, this is where the research gets fascinating, actually. The imaging shows some really distinct changes. So, structural MRI scans, they reveal reduced gray matter, specifically in the prefrontal cortex, the PFC. That's your brain's executive control center, decision-making, focus, all that. We also see thinning in another area, the anterior cingulate cortex, or ACC. That was vital for regulating emotions.
Wow, reduced gray matter. So the brain's actual structure changes. Does that mean things like problem solving literally get harder?
It certainly seems that way.
Yeah.
And then you have fMRI, which looks at brain activity. It shows less activity and weaker connections in those same PFC networks when people are doing cognitive tasks. One study, for example, found that PFC didn't light up as much during working memory tests. And crucially, the connection between the PFC and the amygdala, that's your brain's alarm system, that connection was weaker.
Ah, the amygdala connection. So if that's weaker, it's harder to calm down that stress response? Is that the idea?
Exactly. Your brain's ability to regulate stress is impaired. It struggles to bounce back. Then there's EEG, measuring electrical brain waves. That shows altered patterns, especially in frontal areas. This points to disruptions in attention and how we process emotions. And PG scans show changes too in dopamine-rich areas like the striatum.
Dopamine. So that connects to motivation and reward.
Precisely. It helps explain that feeling of being unmotivated, that anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure that often comes with burnout. So yes, all these findings really hammer home that burnout isn't just a feeling. It's a tangible, measurable brain state.
Okay, that's quite sobering. If our brains are literally changing, how can we spot this early, before it gets too serious? What are the warning signs?
Good question. The key is persistence. If these signs hang around for more than, say, 2 weeks, pay attention. We're talking about that deep, persistent fatigue that sleep doesn't fix. Trouble sleeping, difficulty concentrating, making more mistakes than usual. Also, notice shifts in attitude growing, cynicism, irritability, maybe feeling detached from work, or even loved ones. And don't ignore the physical stuff. Headaches, stomach problems, maybe even high blood pressure creeping up. Your body often knows first.
That's a really helpful checklist. So let's shift to solutions. What does the research say about prevention? What actually works to keep our brains resilient?
Right, actionable strategies. The sources point to several key things, all backed by evidence. First, and this is fundamental, set boundaries. Seriously. Studies consistently show working over 40 hours a week ramps up burnout risks significantly. Schedule proper breaks, uninterrupted ones, and build in what some call oasis moments.
Oasis moments, like tiny escapes during the day.
Exactly. Even just 5 minutes of deep breathing, a quick stretch, it interrupts the stress cycle, it gives the PFC a chance to reset, Second, mindfulness. It sounds simple, but the data is strong. Just 10 minutes of daily mindfulness meditation has been shown in fMRI and EEG studies to actually reduce that PFC hyperactivity we see in stress. And it helps normalize the amygdala PFC connection. Progressive muscle relaxation is another good one, shown to lower cortisol.
It's amazing how powerful those simple practices can be for brain health.
All basics. Third, prioritize sleep and exercise. Don't underestimate this. Getting that solid 7 to 9 hours of consistent sleep is crucial for preserving PFC volume and function. It's brain maintenance. And moderate exercise, think 30 minutes, maybe 3 to 5 times a week, that actually boosts dopamine in the striatum. It directly counteracts that reward deficit.
Okay, boundaries, mindfulness, sleep, exercise. Makes sense. What about support systems?
Absolutely vital. Fourth, social support and professional help. Strong social connections act as a buffer against stress. They literally improve functional connectivity in those emotion regulation networks in the brain. And don't hesitate to seek early counseling or coaching if you feel things sliding. It can prevent burnout from really taking hold. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, has even been shown in some studies to potentially reverse PSC thinning over time.
Wow, reverse it. That's encouraging.
Does the workplace environment itself come into play in the research?
Oh, definitely. That's the final piece. Organizational changes. Workplaces that give employees more control over their work, provide clear roles, and foster peer support. They consistently show lower rates of burnout and get this even healthier brain imaging markers among employees. So it's not just individual effort, the environment matters hugely.
It really paints a clear picture. Burnout isn't sudden, it builds. But it seems like managing it involves this mix of personal brain healthy habits, like mindfulness and sleep, combined with setting firm boundaries and being in or creating supportive environments.
That's the key takeaway. Your brain is arguably your most important asset. Taking active steps to care for it isn't a luxury, it's essential. It protects your mental health, keeps your brain resilient, and ultimately helps you lead a more balanced life. So maybe the thought to leave with is, how are you prioritizing your brain health today?